We see the beginning of the Darfur Genocide come to life in the year 2003. Sudan's government did not hesitate to attempt dissolving the rebellious habits that were developing. The two groups who seem to be causing all the chaos go by the names of Justice and Equality Movement, or the Sudan Liberation Army. A quote I find particularly interesting in Sudanese government's aspiration to tame the rebels is, "Get at the fish by draining the sea." There are many causes for the Darfur genocide, most commonly known as the one between distinct Arab and non-Arab tribes, but the correct way of putting it would not be ethnic, but economic. And this is the main reason why the Darfur genocide had begun. The Sudan Liberation Movement and Justice and Equality Movement rebel groups had begun to argue at the Sudan government that they were accusing of oppressing Darfur's non-Arab population. The government's brilliant plan to stunt the rebel group's growth was to target any civilians who were in the same ethnic group as the rebels were. Targeted for they were considered to be a threat to the government felt that anyone within the same ethnic group was a political rebel and they should be punished. Sudan developed an Arab militia group known as Janjaweed. Janjaweed translated to evil man on horseback. The Janjaweed are well known for their destruction of property and people. They burned down villages, raped anyone, killed by the masses, and abducted many. With the government's neglect of production for the people, and them supplying weapons for the Janjaweed, the rebels felt their best option was to fight back. In February 2003, the rebels attacked Sudanese Air Force Base, El Fasser, North Darfur, in response to the government's placed punishments on the people, taking away from their human rights of Darfur that are still in effect today. The Darfur genocide took place in western Sudan and involved the mass rape and slaughter of Darfuri citizens carried out by the Janjaweed. The genocide also consisted of the burning and destroying over 400 villages, looting, polluting water sources, and torturing citizens. More than 100 people died each day, resulting in a total of 5,000 people dead a month. However, the Sudanese government refused to have any connection to the Janjaweed and their doings. It was officially considered a genocide back in 2004 when the United Nations Genocide Convention and the United Nations and African Union later decided to help the victims. Their aid later led to the arrest warrant of Sudanese President Omar al-Bashir in March of 2009, issued by the International Criminal Court, since he led the genocide. However, their insufficient amount of evidence resulted in him not being prosecuted. This failed attempt of arrest Omar al-Bashir, along with the failed peace talks, enabled the continuation of the Darfur genocide. Even though the killings had started back in 2003, they are still going on today. So far, there have been over 480,000 people killed and 2.8 million have been displaced. 250,000 have taken refuge in neighboring countries such as Chad and Central African Republic. People are still living in fear, especially the women and girls, who are under large threat because they are raped, which is a weapon of war and genocide. Out of Darfur's estimated amount of population of 6 million people, around 4.7 of them are still in need and depend on humanitarian aid for their day-to-day survival. All the torture, killings, and mass rapes are still going on today. Going course of 13 years, the Darfur genocide continues forward in its violent path. We would like to think that over such an extensive period of time, more light would have been shed on this event. Yet even us students had no idea this genocide was even taking place. How is an event like this supposed to come to an end when the mass population of the world has no knowledge of its occurrence? The first solution that comes to our mind is educating and informing the entirety of our civilization. There should be more news being presented about the Darfur genocide, and all genocides that is, that tell societies about what is happening in these defenseless countries. Information should be provided that will allow humans to combine efforts in taking action and making stronger stands against these overpowering groups who imitate genocide behavior.